So today we will presenting about inflation. So this is my team members, which is me, Dia, and my partner is Afif.
Hello, my name is Dhia'Adnin and my ID number is BDB 2403021.
Hello, my name is Afif Fauzan bin Abdul Aziz, BDB 2403044.
For question 1, first let's begin with the definition of inflation. Inflation is the sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a certain period of time. When inflation occurs, the purchasing power of money decreases. This means that 1 ringgit can buy fewer goods and services than before. In other words, inflation shows how the value of money decline as price rise. For example, if something costs Rm100 today, in the future it may cost more, meaning our money has less value. So now, let's move to the explanation of the forest 1.5% until 2.3% inflation in Malaysia for 2025. Now let's look at Malaysia's inflation forecast for the years 2025. According to the forecast, Malaysia is expected to experience an inflation rate between 1.5% and 2.3%. This means that the overall price of goods and services are expected to increase moderately within that range. For example, if the price of an item is Rm100 this year, it is predicted to rise to between Rm101.50 and Rm102.30 next year. This shows that prices are rising slowly and steadily, not drastically. Such a low and stable inflation rate is considered healthy for the economy. It suggests that Malaysia's economy is likely to maintain price stability, which help people plan their spending and saving more effectively. A moderate inflation rate like this is actually beneficial. It reflects controlled cost pressure, meaning that the increase in production and living costs is manageable. This supports steady and sustainable economic growth without causing hardship to consumers. Furthermore, this inflation range aligns with Bank Negara Malaysia's efforts to maintain economic stability. It helps to ensure that goods remain affordable for consumers while also supporting a healthy business environment. Business can plan investment confidently and consumers can continue spending without worrying about sudden price spikes. So next for question 2, which is about how low inflation could influence Bank Negara Malaysia's decision to cut interest rates. Inflation, as we know, refers to the general increase in price of goods and services over time. When inflation remains low and stable, it means prices are not rising too quickly. In such a situation, Bank Negara Malaysia has more flexibility to reduce interest rate in order to stimulate economic growth. This is why low inflation means less pressure on price. When inflation is stable and moderate, it shows that the price of goods and services are under control. This means there is less pressure on the economy from rising price. As a result, Bank Negara Malaysia can lower interest rate without worrying about causing excessive inflation or overheating the economy. Lower inflation gives confidence to policymakers that price stability will be maintained even if growing costs decrease. In simple terms, with low inflation, the government does not need to take strong action to slow down spending. Instead, they can encourage more economic activity by making loans cheaper and money more accessible. Next impact of lower interest rate encouraging borrowing and investment. When interest rates are cut, it becomes cheaper to borrow money. This benefits both businesses and consumer. For businesses, lower borrowing costs mean that they can take loans to expand operation, start new projects, or invest in new technologies. This can lead to more job opportunities and increased production, which further support nation's economic growth. For consumer, cheaper loans encourage people to buy house, car, or other goods. When more people spend, domestic demand rises, and this helps to stimulate the economy from within. In other words, lower interest rate encourage spending and investment, both of which are key drivers of economic growth. So next is support economic growth. Since inflation remains under control, the central focus of monetary policy has shifted towards stimulating economic growth and preventing an economic slowdown. By reducing the overnight policy rates, or OPR, Bank Negara Malaysia seeks to enhance money circulation within the economy. This policy measure encourage greater spending, support employment opportunities, and promotes investment activities. Collectively, this outcome contribute to sustaining and strengthening Malaysia's overall economic growth. So last is maintain competitiveness. Lower interest rate may also play a role in maintaining Malaysia's competitiveness in the global market. A reduction in interest rate can lead to a slight depreciation of the ringgit, which makes Malaysians export relatively more affordable to foreign buyers. This increase in export competitiveness can be particularly beneficial during periods of global economic uncertainty, as it helps stabilize international trade performance and support long-term economic resilience.
Okay, I gonna present question 3 and question 4. So the question 3 is about discuss how the lower inflation rate affect. So it affect a 3 type of group. The number 1 is consumer purchasing power. Number 2, businesses investment decision. Number 3 is government fiscal policy. Okay, so first one is consumer purchasing power. So positive effect and negative effect. Positive is increased purchasing power. When the inflation is lower, consumer will buy more as a prices for the goods and services do not increase as quickly. But negative effect, deflation. If the prices fall, consumer may delay their purchases in the anticipation of the even lower prices can lead to the slower economic growth. For the second one, businesses investment decision. Positive effect, increase the investment. Businesses will more confidently take on the debt and invest for invention, because the future of cost of borrowing and production is more predictable. But in negative effect, this inflation risk. A rapid drop in the inflation could lead to expectation of future price decreases, causing the consumer and businesses to delay spending, which economic contraction, like the economy is like drown because the price is too low, so they need to delay it. Last of the third, government fiscal policy. Positive effect, improve the fiscal balance. Lower inflation can temporarily improve the government fiscal balance because nominal expenditure don't rise as quickly as nominal. But negative effect, weak demand. A period of low inflation can signal weak economy, leading to lower tax revenue and make it difficult to the government to fund its program. Last question, question 4. Should the government continue providing a subsidy and cash handout if the inflation is expected to remain low? Justify your argument with reference to the both short-term and long-term effect. So my answer for this is, if the inflation is expected to still remain low, government should reduce the public subsidies but we maintain targeted assistance to the those in need, such as B40 group is the poor group on our country society. So they need to get a system from government for their financial, and government need to give them for they to continue their life, because they need some help. So make sure government help them, but at the same time need to reduce public subsidy to control the economics, not to spending too much than income. To the next slide, I'm gonna explain about the short term and long term lower inflation effect. So the short term, customer feel relief, purchasing power increase because prices are under control, and the cash support from government giving change for them to spending their money, because they have money, they have power to purchasing. Okay, the second one, demand in economic remain stable. When the consumer still spending or purchasing their money, businesses can gain their same money from consumer through business, preventing lower economy. So they has business activity, the economy can grow. Okay, but the negative is burden the government budget increase, because the government continue providing subsidies may increase the government spending, and if the spending is more than revenue income, it can bring a negative impact to long-term effect. So it can bring a disaster to economy. So economy can become something wrong. To the long-term effect, there's a lot of negative effect. So the first one, high fiscal burden. If a government still continue providing subsidies, government spending budget increase, and funding for development such as education, infrastructure, and healthcare are decreased, because there are a lot of our subsidy and not have for the funding, so they have not enough for funding development. For the second one, depending on subsidy, so consumer and businesses, industrial always depend on subsidy, make government difficult to remove subsidy from them when the economic need a renewal. So example is like around 1905. I mean the diesel. The example is diesel, government remove the subsidy, so a lot of citizens, a lot of people angry with that. Okay, the last one is risk inflation in the future. When demand still remaining high and government still continue money injection such as for subsidies, over time, for the long time, can increase the prices of the goods and services. People suffer the impact of inflation after that. So that means that's because it's still, this activity is still continue, and it can take change for the lower inflation into the inflation. So everyone suffer with inflation, but sometimes inflation have a good and a bad. So that's all for me. Thank you.